Hello, today is Saturday, February 21st, 2026. And again, I haven't done this in a while, but been struggling to find something that really um, touched me without a struggle or a way to impose things into what I was reading, but just reacting to it. But I did come across one this morning, so I'm recording this today. And today I'm going to be reading from a daily devotional from the United Church of Christ. And again, as I've said in the past, taking specifically Christian scripture and devotion and relating it to everyday life, which I think any of us can do with any sacred writings or traditions, um, taking them out of the context of the dogma and the beliefs of that particular tradition, and just looking at what it might say to us about our lives and how we live in the world. So the devotion I'm reading today is entitled "Turn, Turn, Turn," written by Martha Spong. And Martha bases it, of course, not on the 60s song, which was actually based on the scripture, but on the scripture Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 and 7b. And Martha, um, took that from the New Revised Standard Version. "For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to keep silent and a time to speak." And then Martha writes, "I have a conflicted relationship with silence that is closely related to my avoidance of doing one thing at a time. Talking on the phone while driving, listening to a podcast while sorting laundry, watching or listening to TV while cooking are just a few examples. Over a lifetime, those habits testify to frantic attempts at distraction, from loneliness, anxiety, grief, even depression. The thoughts in my head felt like unpleasant or even unsafe companions. Sometimes they still feel like that. And while I am fairly sure that the author of Ecclesiastes was talking about something else, perhaps measuring when you use your words wisely, so certain, in fact, that I try to talk myself out of writing this. I keep coming back to what being silent offers to and demands of my life. Living in my monkey mind keeps things at the surface level. It prevents going deeper. In seasons of particular anxiety, I have spun harder and harder, multitasking to an impossible degree. In the most recent of those, I came up against one activity I could not do at the same time as another. Wordle. To focus on the game, I need silence that allows me to think clearly. Perhaps I am not so far away from the intent of Ecclesiastes after all. For everything there is a season, a time to engage in coping strategies, and a time to face the reality of what we think and feel, even and especially when we don't want to sit with it." And then Martha's prayer. "Holy One, when distractions keep us away from you, give us courage to turn down the noise." Well, a few things that went through my mind when I read this is one, I don't know how many months ago I started practicing meditation. Um, and I use guided meditation, and I actually use an app called Headspace. I've used some other ones too in the past, but I actually find the Headspace ones, the daily meditations that they have, to be thought-provoking and give me something to think about in silence. And it forces me to shut off everything else and just focus on that, focus on the moment and my breathing and my body. And I find it helpful as a reminder that even in everyday activities, to just shut things off, to not multitask, but to just be in the moment rather than closing off that which we don't want to think about, or avoiding certain thoughts, or being overwhelmed. And sometimes the social media algorithms kind of hook us into just scrolling, doom scrolling, if you want to call it that, mindlessly, without really, as a way of avoiding our own thoughts and ideas. So I really tried to use the thoughts of the meditation to let go of trying to block out other thoughts. Because in meditation, a lot of people think it's about trying to block out thoughts that come into mind, but it's not. It's really more about just accepting them, that when those thoughts come, and they will come, you just acknowledge them and then let them go. You don't try to avoid thinking of them, because avoiding thinking of them makes you think about them, and it doesn't really work. So it's just something that I think, especially with all of the crap that's going on in the United States right now, and the inaction of Congress to actually step in and do their jobs, and just the horrific things that are happening to everyday people, to human beings, it can be overwhelming. And it's okay to acknowledge that. It's okay to feel that, those emotions that are coming up when you read about or hear about those kinds of things. But I also think that rather than distracting ourselves by other inputs, just taking the time to go outside, and if you have a dog, take your dog for a walk without listening to a podcast, and just be present in that moment. Let your mind wander wherever it might wander, or just focus on what's going on around you. Listen, especially this time of year when it starts warming up and the birds start returning, to hear the bird songs and the chatter of squirrels and other wildlife as winter kind of fades away. It's not a distraction, but it's bringing you back into that particular moment, rather than trying to find other inputs to mask what's going on. It also mentions Wordle. I'm not really a games person, but that is something. It's, in a way, it's a distraction, but it does cause you to focus on one particular thing. You can't have other things going on at the same time. And that particular part of the devotion also made me think of when I was younger. I was in high school and college. I would often do homework in my bedroom, and I would have the stereo blasting while I was doing homework. And now, when I'm reading or studying or doing whatever, I really find it to be a distraction, to have something going on in the background, and it's better to be quiet, and so that I can immerse myself in what I am reading and doing. And that's not to say that random thoughts don't come into my head as I'm reading. And of course, we always have our phones in our pocket, so those random thoughts often turn into tugs to put the book down, stop the movie, and look something up, whatever. But the more you're aware of that happening, the more you can just let it go. So anyway, these were some of the thoughts that came through my mind as I was reading that. I think there is a time to keep silent and a time to speak. Yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts for this day. I hope it gives you something to think about, and I hope it gives you a chance to be more aware of yourself and your body and your being and your thoughts and your place in the world, because we need you all.